Welcome back to Flick Filter.
Gang, gang.
Gang, gang.
I am Big Diesel.
I am the professor.
No
relation.
And today we're going to swerve on you in this episode.
Swerve, you say?
Swerve. Because somebody, not going to name who, did not watch X-Men 97. So we can't review that.
Dang, you didn't? That's crazy.
Yes, it was me. Cap!
My bad, guys.
But yeah, so he's still watching it. So and then we have no movies. I don't know when we're gonna see Inside Out 2. And then there's something else. The Watchers. We're still gonna see. Yeah. But anyways, we're gonna do the top 10 MCU movies. We were gonna do just top 5, but we'll do 2. And just do brief reasons why we liked them and why they're top 10. So we're gonna do 10 down.
Yeah.
So my number 10 is Incredible Hulk.
Ooh. Was not expecting that. Okay.
So basically, it's my favorite Hulk movie, and I'm a big Hulk fan. Even though Edward Norton is not my favorite Hulk, he may be my favorite Bruce Banner, maybe. But Mark Ruffalo really kills it. I just don't like the way they write. They've been writing Hulk lately.
Yeah.
They haven't been doing them really justice. So, fingers crossed for a World War Hulk movie and they do it right. But
is it because of like Universal still owns Hulk, or is that they basically aren't allowed to make a solo?
No, they can use Hulk, but they can't make a solo Hulk movie. From my
crazy.
So, I think this just had the first one was just terrible. Hulk, just regular Hulk. That was terrible. But this one, it was good. I just think him with Abomination was just perfect. You get fists against fists, and it was just
they both went
crazy.
crazy.
It was a simple movie. There wasn't much depth to it, but you know, for me, I just like hand to hand.
True.
Hulk smashing, man. That's all you need. That's all you really need from a Hulk movie.
Yeah. Have we seen Betty Ross since then?
Besides, What If?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Wait, season 1 or 2?
Either one. I don't remember.
What's season 1?
Anyways, she should be coming back for Captain America.
Oh.
Brave New World. So
In like 20
we
years?
will. Yeah, certain people will show up. I'm not gonna say who else, but they're definitely doing some Hulk stuff moving forward. So yeah. Anyways, what's your 10?
My 10 is, drumroll please, Guardians of the Galaxy.
The first one?
The first one.
Oh, you sleep.
The first one.
You sleep.
What you mean?
You sleep. You'll figure it out. But you sleep. You sleep.
Okay.
So why?
Well, so Guardians, that was definitely thinking back to way back to 2014. I believe it was 2014. That was an unexpected hit. Like, not too many.
Which is why I'm saying why is it so low?
So I don't have a reason. Well, I do have a reason. Okay. So for a lot of these, and you'll kind of see that a little bit later. So for a lot of my rankings, they're very interchangeable after like my top like 4, 5.
Gotcha.
They can be very interchangeable. So that's why on another day this could be like number 6 or 7, maybe
Gotcha.
even 5. But that's just where it fell today.
So why do you like it?
Why do I like it? I like the characters. I love like the theme of like a found family between these group of misfits and folks that they're criminals, but they have something in common. They're different, but when they come together, it's like they each have their own role. They each play off of each other. I feel like the Guardians they have the most like family dynamic out of all the groups in the MCU.
Yeah.
Even I mean you have actual families in the MCU, but this group feels like the most like
Shout out to Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Feels like the most family as far as like the actual teams that we have, and I like the humor. I feel like it was in an era where the humor wasn't really forced. It still has that like MCU level humor, and of course it's James Gunn, but it feels like
he was part of DC now.
Yeah, it has its own flavor that the MCU definitely leans into for a lot of its more comedic movies, but it was just a really, really good movie. But yeah, it looking back on it, I'll probably say like, yeah, I should have put this higher, but that's just where I put it today.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
My number 9, Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Interesting.
Great.
Very interesting.
Probably one of my favorite Spider-Man movies.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I know you probably think No Way Home. No Way Home. But yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything until
it pops up early, later in the. But yeah, Homecoming. I think Tom Holland was just great as he's probably the best version of both Peter Parker. Like with Spider-Man and Batman, you gotta have two things. You gotta be a good Bruce and a good Peter, and also be a good Batman and a good Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's both interchangeable. So I feel like even though Andrew
probably the best Spider-Man. Was he the best Peter? Probably the best Spider-Man.
Probably the best Spider-Man. I think Tobey was the good Peter.
Yeah.
Good Peter. Yeah. But anyways, I think Homecoming was really good. You get his childish quirk. He just did the quirks the best.
Yeah.
He did. He has like he just was very quirky, and it's basically bringing him. Well, not I won't say ground level, but a lot of people complain about the too much Iron Man and too much help. But that wasn't really a problem with this one, because he came in from Civil War, with Tony, so it made sense.
Yeah.
But then after the other movies came along, it's like, he's getting too much help, or he's basically Iron Man Jr. and stuff like that. But I think just Michael Keaton as Vulture, and it was just very different from what you've seen from Tobey and Andrew. So I think it was good to see that in MCU
for sure.
And Sony screws everything up.
Dang, what do you mean they screwed? Oh, because of the other stuff. Yeah, at least we got the Spider-Verse for now.
All right, so you're 9.
My 9. My 9 is, drumroll please.
I'm not a good drummer.
It's all good. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
You sleep on these, man.
What do you mean I'm asleep?
You sleep on these. No, I'm just joking.
Okay, so Shang-Chi. Yeah, that was it. That one is another one where on another day it could be a little higher. I probably wouldn't put it too much higher, but I did definitely enjoy this probably more than most of the post in-game MCU movies. I think this was still in Phase 4. I want to say, yeah, that was Phase 4 for Shang-Chi. And yeah, it was like the very first like martial arts based MCU movie. It definitely had a lot of like Asian influence in terms of like well, not too much, but there was some like elements of like martial arts cinema that they leaned into. Definitely love the lead character, supporting characters, and I think it had one of the best villains as well in Tony Leung. I forgot the Winwood was the name of the character. I thought he was a great villain. He had a lot of depth, even though I felt like he didn't speak too much. Like he wasn't a character that had like a ton of dialogue, but when he did speak, it was like you definitely felt like he means what he says, and he definitely had like this very like a presence that he's important in that whatever he means business. So yeah, it definitely felt like it was one of the stronger MCU movies of the post Endgame era. It felt like it was trying to do something different. I really liked the action scenes. It probably had like two of the best action scenes in like probably all of the MCU. Like the bus scene was great, and then also like the skyscraper scene, that was really cool as well. So yeah, just really solid, really solid movie. I think. Well, I'm not gonna get into like complaints or anything, but yeah, I think yeah, definitely something I would recommend even if people haven't seen it. This one you can definitely go back and watch it. I don't think you like need to see really anything else outside of it to go into this one. I feel like this one you can kind of just go in blind. There are some cameos from other characters that appear, but not too. I don't think it's like too big.
And I think that was my kind of problem with it. Is it was good leading up to that.
Yeah.
Then it just got kind of when they went into the other world. It's just kind of like, then it just got silly. It just got too silly for me.
It did get a little silly.
It's just like, and I liked him better as an Iron Man villain. So the fact that they didn't really do him right in Iron Man 3, and then they had to really redeem.
Yeah.
It was just like, and then of course they didn't want to use because in the comics the rings are actually rings, like, but they didn't want it because we already had the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh.
So that's why they were more bracelets.
Yeah.
But they did those bracelets kind of cool. It was really cool how they used them. But I'm just kind of old fashioned. I wish they stuck to the. I'm not always going to be the one that's like, oh yeah, you need to do things by the comic book or whatever. But I think if they kept it by the comic book, it would have been a little bit better. But it still was a good movie.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. 8. Black Panther.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't like it as much as most people. I did like it a lot when I first saw it, but then the second watch, I was kind of like, okay, it didn't hit the same.
Yeah.
And I think it was all about like, I think they overhyped it up. Not saying it was bad. It wasn't just going into it, I thought it was going to be much greater than it actually was. But I still think everybody did a good job. The storyline was good. Of course, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. It was just, I think he was the best Black Panther we could have ever asked for.
Yeah.
So I think this that movie was good. You had Michael B. Jordan as a bad guy, which is funny because he made that hairstyle look good, and now they're using it way too much in certain things, and I'm
every movie, every hairstylist is using that for their black actors.
Michael B. Jordan made it cool, and everybody else is just ruining it.
Like nobody has that hairstyle in real life. Well, they might have had it for like a brief period after the movie, some of the kids, and then now it's like nobody has that now.
Yeah. But anywho, I think it was a great movie. Definitely reminded you of Lion King in certain aspects.
Yeah, absolutely.
Visuals were good. Fighting styles were good. The humor was good. I can just go on and on and on. So I'm just gonna end it at that. But yeah, Black Panther.
Okay, so it's funny. I was gonna call an audible and switch something up, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna keep it
the
just
way
for
it is.
Yeah. So my number 8, and this may be, I don't know if this should be higher or not. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, this one hits you in the feels, man.
Definitely not my favorite though. Mostly because I don't like when it
got dark.
I was triggered the whole movie.
It's high. I guess that's pretty high, but also.
And I hated the high evolution. Oh my gosh,
he was a great, terrible.
He did it so well that you hated him so much. Yeah. Oh my. I can't rewatch it. That's why it's not top 10.
It's one where
it's a good movie, but it's still like I can't watch it.
So this one probably on a different day I probably may not even. It's weird like having it on the put it on the list even though I low key there's another movie I feel like probably should have taken its place. Not so. It's a great movie, but the only thing is kind of like what you were alluding to. Like, I probably wouldn't watch it super often. So, but I do feel like it's a great achievement for the MCU, especially because of where they've been the last few years.
That year was just terrible for them.
Yeah, and
because it was hit, miss, and
they could not get consecutive hits. They didn't have consecutive hits in a row probably like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And this was probably like the best reviewed thing that they've done in a minute. So, and with it being a movie, because like they had Loki, which that got good reviews, and WandaVision that had pretty good reviews as well. Like a lot of people were watching that, but
we may need to break down the TV shows too.
Yeah. But with Guardians, it was definitely like a good send-off for James Gunn, a great send-off for all these characters. I felt like everybody got, they did well, like giving everybody, wrapping up the trilogy for the Guardians, and definitely felt like it was definitely Rocket's movie with this, and you definitely got a great feel for his backstory, but it also ties it into what was happening in the present. So I just felt like they just did a great job with that. So it's definitely not one of the more rewatchable, in my opinion. But I just felt like it deserved to be on the list. So,
There's certain
um,
films I was like,
but if you ask me tomorrow, it may not even be on there. But yeah.
it'd be like that. So number 7, Eternals.
I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes.
I'm not mad at. I like it. It's
It's controversial because a lot of people don't like Eternals.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Yes, there are certain things I did not like about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the comics, they weren't like it seemed like they were like robots and programmed to do certain things, which they're actually still. Well, if you go to the comics, it's a little bit different. Their backstory is a little bit different. And it feels like they definitely just tried to make it too diverse with all the races kind of thing. But they had some banger people in there. We had Angelina Jolie.
Yep.
You had the Stark brothers, if you get that,
Yeah. Jon Snow, Robb Stark.
Yeah. You had
Brian Tyree
Henry. We had Kunal Najjar.
Njami, Kamal. Do you know how to pronounce his last name?
I don't. If I butcher it, I'm sorry. But we'll leave it at that. But you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, just bangers after bangers. I think the only character I really didn't like is Icarus. Even though I love the actor. But Sprite. Oh, I couldn't stand Sprite.
Yeah.
Sprite was annoying. Oh yeah, and of course, what's his name? Who played
Barry Keoghan.
Barry Keoghan, man.
And you're missing one of the goats, Salma Hayek.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Oh, dang. Spoiled it.
I mean, if they would see it, they'd see it. But still, yeah, there's a reason for that. But yeah, Hayek was good. All of them were good. I feel like they made some creative choices, which they're just nitpicks though. But as far as the movie goes, I think it was a solid movie.
Yeah.
I think you'll have nitpicks here and there, but
yeah. So my thing with it, which we've talked about a few times. Well, the big thing was the bomb and him.
You gotta explain that because they.
Do I have to? So I had an issue with them having the black man being the guy who designed the bomb that where they bombed Hiroshima. Yeah. And I was like, you really gonna have the black man be the one to do this and murder millions of people? And I'm just like, did y'all think about this in the writers' room?
Nitpick.
I feel like that's kind of, I don't know. That to me, I was like, really, y'all gonna have him be the one to do that? That's crazy. And like, of all the things you could have had him do, you made him responsible for one of the greatest war atrocities, and just like, and that was.
Y'all let us know what you think about that situation.
So put in the comments what you think about that.
Do you think he's overreacting, or?
I don't think I'm the only one either. I'm pretty sure somebody else has the same issue. And then there was something else. Oh, just the overall like pacing of the movie. I felt like
it was a little bit off.
There was a lull kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
And
it's so many characters.
Yeah.
They tried to do another Guardians of the Galaxy with this one, and
it was more serious.
Yeah, it didn't work for the majority of people, but I feel like me, you, Ray, really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed
it's
it.
Like
it was definitely.
So I wouldn't be mad at number 2. I don't know if they're gonna do a number 2 because
I don't know if they will.
Yeah,
but yeah, I enjoyed it. I wish I feel like we've talked about this before. I wish they almost did like a limited series for it, so that they would have been able to like focus on maybe like each episode focused on a different character, and it was like, and then it would ultimately lead up to wherever um, the ultimate conflict like led to. But I still think the movie overall was good. Like I definitely feel like people said like it was one of the worst MCU movies, and I'm like, it's not even
close.
Bottom 5, bottom 10. Like there's definitely way worse.
So you
Yeah. So my number 7 is Black Panther. It's funny so this is the first time
it's not surprising that it's higher.
It's only one spot higher. It's legit one spot higher than yours.
Yeah, a little bit.
So it's like that's why I was like I could, but I think that's probably accurate. I think at one point it was higher than that for me, but I don't want to talk about it too much since you've already mentioned it. But yeah, it's.
But just go into what you liked about it.
I liked definitely Chadwick, his performance. It was a very like complicated. I think it was a more complicated performance than maybe it gets credit for, just because of him having to do so much as like being believable in terms of like he's taking over as king. He's also dealing with the conflict between him and Killmonger, and then he's also trying to find his place as far as like taking over after his father, and then like his relationship with Nakia, and then just being who he is. Like I feel like that's not like I think people talk about what Black Panther means as a figure and what he means for like the culture, but also looking at it from the standpoint of like Chadwick, who I can't recall if he was sick at the time when he was doing Black Panther. Yeah, so I know he was
since Civil War.
Since Civil War. Oh wow, that's wow. Yeah. So him carrying all that he had to carry while doing the movie, and looking back on it, the fact that pretty much nobody knew outside of his close like family, like people who were with him every single day making these movies, they didn't even know. And I feel like that's just something, I don't know, it feels like very symbolic, because people a lot of times people in great positions and people that are prominent or people that are in these important roles, like we never know like what people are carrying and what they are going through. I didn't expect to see all that, but I'm saying that to say like just felt like that was a great performance. And even like thinking about his appearance in other movies as T'Challa, like there's definitely that like connective tissue through all of it, and just seeing that character, I just felt like. But think about Black Panther specifically, like that's just a real solid MCU movie. I think in retrospect, it may not have been the greatest superhero movie of all time.
Right.
That some people probably claim it as, but I still think, it's
still a good one.
Yeah, and it means a lot for a lot of people. So
that's all that matters.
Yeah, but the music was great. It's one of the best soundtracks.
Yes.
The costumes.
Yeah,
it just seemed like one of those movies where I would have loved to have been on the set. Like, it just seems like it would have been.
Our friends.
Yeah, he'll probably be watching this at some point.
He will. Shout out.
Yeah, but so Black Panther, one of the most successful superhero movies of all time.
Man. So my number 6. Endgame. Endgame.
Okay.
Endgame.
Okay.
So, a lot of my tops, my favorite MCU movies are Russo movies. Russo movies or Avenger movies. You know, I think the Russos, even though they haven't done good stuff after Endgame, but man, they were killing it.
Yeah, they have the sauce.
They had the sauce, so wouldn't be mad that they did the X-Men.
Wouldn't be mad. Will they? Who knows?
Now, aside from, I think Infinity War is a little bit better, but there's always some people who say Infinity War, some people say Endgame. There was a lot of slowness in Endgame. There was some cool moments. I think the cameo, like the big call-outs, people love them little call-outs, the callbacks or whatever, more than, I feel like it's still, the pacing was kind of an issue, I feel like, but, you know. It still was a good movie, a good end to a whole saga, and unfortunately, and what's crazy is once I saw it, I was like, all right, after this,
where do we go from here?
Because I'm like, y'all don't have the Russos no more. What are y'all gonna do? And it was not surprising to me that it, like, just because in my opinion, their best movies, the best MCU movies were Russo movies. So the fact that they knocked it out of the park almost every single time was just kind of like, and then now they decide to step away is like, but I say all that to say it was great time. I remember spending. I went to Fitz Plaza, I think, to see Endgame with some friends. So
I think I saw it either the Conyers Theater or I saw it at Stonecrest back, you know, when they still had it open pre-pandemic.
But man, it was a good time to be alive.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We didn't know how good we had it. We didn't know how.
Facts.
We didn't know how good we.
Well,
had
I did.
Well, we as like a collective.
Yeah.
So I guess mine.
6.
My 6 is Thor Ragnarok.
And that's it.
And that's it. All right, so number 5. Okay, so I felt like yeah, there's a lot I could say about Ragnarok. That was definitely, I felt like the movie that kind of, in a sense, kind of saves Thor as a character for the MCU because
we thought that until
we gotta get in the right step in the right order. So yeah, also back then we didn't know how good we had it. See, Thor was,
Just explain.
See, yeah, because to be honest, most people didn't really care for the first couple of Thor movies. I know people liked him when he appeared in the Avengers. He was cool, but I feel like as a whole, as a character, there wasn't really any depth to him. Like, as far as
There still isn't.
there's more than they definitely explored his character a lot more in Ragnarok, and I felt
They
like
made him more funny. That was basically.
yeah, they made him more funny, but I felt like that it was in contrast to the fact that he was so serious in the first couple of movies, and it was kind of like this, like, oh, the first movie was like this fish out of water type of story, and yeah, there was some humor in that, and then Thor: The Dark World, which I still kind of don't think I've
I think I
But
don't think Dark World was as bad as people say, but the villain was trash.
okay, I fell asleep. I,
So you can't say anything.
I mean, it didn't compel me to go back and watch it.
You fall asleep all the time.
But I still go back and watch things that I fell asleep on. We're talking about Ragnarok.
I think you
We're getting off topic. Ragnarok is number 6 in my list because I felt like it was the movie that did Thor the best justice, and also
Had Hulk.
it had Hulk. It had I like the dynamic between Thor and Loki, probably the best in this one.
I think that was the best version of Thor and Loki.
Yeah. Even
I think that's the best they've been.
Yeah.
Aside from Avengers, the first Avengers movie.
Yeah. I think Thor. You definitely got to see significant growth in Thor's character in Ragnarok. I thought the humor, for the most part, was good. There was some, of course, there's gonna be some parts that don't always land, but
It's Taika Waititi.
yeah, but I felt like for the most part, like I enjoyed. I really enjoyed the villain. I thought Hela was a great villain. Kate Blanchett, she knocked it out the park.
Of course, it's Kate Blanchett.
Always.
Isn't she Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, she's Galadriel. Of course. Look. Anyway, this guy. Yeah, great villain. I think the visuals were great. I really liked how they utilized Hulk, even though they still make him pretty comedic. But I like the fight scene between Hulk and Thor. Yeah, and I like the introduction of Valkyrie in this one. Also, there's a lot. Jeff Goldblum, just a lot of great parts in Ragnarok, and it was like one of the more fun movies. Like I feel like it's pretty rewatchable. Like you can.
It's
check
definitely
it out.
rewatchable.
Yeah.
A lot of complaints that I've heard, because a lot of people do say it's the best Thor movie.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people say because in the comics, Ragnarok is a much darker story.
Yeah.
So they kind of were upset that it was just mostly thrown out as a joke.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you just merged World War Hulk, or Planet Hulk, my bad, Planet Hulk, into it. I know you can't do a whole planet. So it was just kind of like...
Yeah.
So I get why people didn't... The ones that didn't like it, I get why.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. I still don't... I'm not a big fan of Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Even though he did do, a good... Thor Justice. But
Yeah.
I feel like Thor is still not where I would like him to be. Same thing with Aquaman. Not to get off subject, but just... I don't... When you get a serious character that needs to be serious and then you turn them into a comedic character, it kind of throws me off.
Okay.
So, I think that's what... If you made more Thor badass, I would like that. I think he would come off a lot better. But you're trying to... He is kind of OP in the comics. I'm not gonna lie. He's very OP in the comics.
Yeah.
But he's so much more badass. Like, I'm just gonna leave it there. But yeah, it's just the way they kind of dumb down his character is kind of wild.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think people can do a good Thor movie. You just gotta find the people that have that right vision and know the comics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think Taika Waititi really cared about the comics.
Yeah, he does like to make his own movies, his own brand, his own way, his own humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't speak to, I don't know all the inner workings that go on his sets and everything, but knowing from how Love and Thunder went down, like yeah.
Let's leave that alone.
Yeah, I'll leave that alone.
Anyways,
so are we gonna go do the second half on the next one? Because we got the top 5 now.
we are at the top 5. So, let's just do it.
Okay. We want to split it up. Okay.
Anyways, this next one is the top 5.
Top 5.
So, my 5 is Captain America Civil War. And it's a Russo film. It's kind of like an Avengers film.
Yeah.
You got Spider-Man introducing himself.
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther introducing himself.
Yep.
It was cool. Why I don't have it higher? It was darker than I thought it was gonna be. And of course the whole comics is very different. But yeah, this was just because there's a lot of darkness. I didn't realize how dark it was gonna be, especially with the twist with Tony's parents. I was just like, yeah, he might need to get his beat.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if I can stand with
I was on side cap. I was
Mm.
on side cap, but yeah.
You tripping, big dog.
Man, but yeah, Civil War was just really cool. I'll just speak on Black Panther. Just the introduction of him. I think when I heard of Chadwick Boseman getting cast as Black Panther, that was just incredible because I loved him in 42. That's the first movie I've seen him in. And yeah, I just know he's a phenomenal actor. So rest in peace. Spider-Man, of course, with his quips. Yep. We already touched on him as well. And just seeing everybody, you got everybody on each side crammed into there.
Yeah.
And it was just beautifully told, even though it was a long movie.
It was.
But I feel like it was great. The only unfortunate thing is they didn't really, even though, what's his name, who plays Baron Zemo?
Mm-hmm.
He did great. I think he's a great Baron Zemo.
Yeah.
He just didn't feel like Baron Zemo.
You would probably know better than I would.
Yeah, he did not feel like Baron Zemo. To me, that's what
I don't know how he's supposed to feel, to be honest, because I don't. That was kind of my introduction to Baron Zemo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was.
So yeah, number 5 would be Captain America: Civil War.
Cool. Definitely a hit. Definitely had a lot going for it. I'll call it Avengers 2.5.
Right.
Yeah. Guess we can go to my number 5.
Number 5.
My number 5 is Spider-Man Homecoming. See, he was.
I figured it was Spider-Man.
But you anyway. Spider-Man Homecoming is my number 5.
I better not see any of the other ones up higher.
Dang! Oh, what? See now, it may have been, but it may. Oh, I guess we'll never know. I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know.
I guess we'll never know, or we might know. We might find out.
We'll never know. Anyways,
Spider-Man Homecoming is. See, just for that, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna put Spider-Man Far From Home. Nah, see, Homecoming, in my opinion, is one of the best Spider-Man movies. Definitely one of the best uh, uh, Tom Holland entries because it really feels like, I mean, he's introduced in Civil War, but this is his first like movie of like on his own, Tom Holland, and it feels like the most like it's a coming of age movie essentially. Like it's a high school movie.
Yeah.
He goes through his, he's in the science, decathlon whatever team. He has crushes on girls. One girl,
Yeah.
Liz, and he's trying to go to the dance, and he's just trying to do his thing, and then he's trying to protect the neighborhood, and he's trying to do stuff without Tony Stark watching all over him. He's just going through his kid stuff, his teenage stuff, and I'm, even though I was already like an adult at this point when it came out, but it definitely felt very relatable in terms of like being young and wanting to prove that you're responsible, and then him kind of failing to do that and wanting Tony to trust him, and trying to figure things out on his own. Like I feel like that was kind of the heart of the movie, and then also felt like Michael Keaton as the Vulture. He was a great villain. I feel like very underrated over all the
Underrated?
Underrated, yeah. Why?
I thought a lot of people liked him.
I think they do like him a lot, but I feel like I don't know. Maybe it just seems like when people talk about the best MCU villains, he doesn't get brought up in that.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that's underrated. Yeah.
Because people tend to talk about Thanos. They talk about Killmonger.
Yeah.
Loki, of course, but I feel like
he's one of them.
Yeah.
One of them.
Definitely, like I feel like he had like the best, one of the most relatable motivations. Like I felt like the average person could relate to why he's doing what he's doing. Like it's like they've got all these weapons out here, and he's just trying to make money to provide for his family. Like there's these weapons that Stark created, and they're not being used for basically anything productive, and he's like, I'm just trying to feed my kids and kid rather, feed my family, feed the family, whatever. Anywho, and then also the scene where the scene.
Yep.
You know the scene. That was my favorite scenes. Like I remember seeing that in the theater, and I was like,
sheesh.
I was like, no, they did not.
Mm.
That was one of the big.
You wanted to say the scene?
Yeah, I mean, it's just because I still think about it. Like when when he pulls up to the door, and then he's the dad, and then that's
the moment he opened the door. They're like, ugh. And I think you could tell where they were going as like 2 seconds. I was like,
in retrospect, it should have been obvious, but it's just so matter of fact. Like all of a sudden, he's just like, oh, it's him. I'm like, yeah.
And then when he's talking,
when he finds out
when he's in the car, oh,
that was the best. That was that was a great scene.
Yeah,
that was a great scene.
Yep.
Man. When I'm talking about this movie, I'm like, dang, should I put it even higher? Nah, but top 5, that's pretty good.
5's pretty high. So.
Yeah, it is pretty high. Yeah. So yeah, Homecoming.
Cool.
Yeah.
So my number 4 is Age of Ultron. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
another Russo. Another Russo. No. Take that back.
That's Whedon.
Whedon.
Is he still canceled?
I didn't know he was canceled. I know Justice League was trash, but I didn't know he was canceled.
I thought I'm not going into that.
Anyways, Age of Ultron I thought was really good. You got what's his name? Who played Ultron?
James Spader.
James Spader.
Fire.
He did great. I got spoiled. That's the one film I got spoiled in just because I know they played like clips, and it was the whole Hulkbuster scene. I was just like, and then it was like that witch is controlling your mind. And I was like, wait, what? But yeah, Age of Ultron. I thought it was really good. You had Quicksilver and Elizabeth Olsen. I thought they had a great dynamic. I felt like you introduced Vibranium and Claw, so you tease the Black Panther part for Civil War. You then you had the little lifting of the hammer, which everybody was like, did he lift it? Did he not lift it? Was he worthy? Was he not? Kept lifting the hammer.
Yeah. I
And
heard
it
some
budging.
people. I've heard theories like they said he could have lifted it back then, but
He
he
did
didn't want
lift
to.
it.
Well, he didn't want to. I thought he didn't. I thought he like.
No,
moved
he
it.
he lifted it
I thought
and
he-
then acted like he couldn't do it.
Oh.
So he lifted it,
How much did he lift it?
not much, but he basically didn't want to show up like
That's what I was
because
saying.
Thor was at that point because you could tell by his face when he like you could tell by his face like that wouldn't have been the right, especially in front of everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, so he just nah, I can't do it. He's like, and Thor was like, oh yeah, okay, but that's why in Endgame he's like, I knew it, So he did lift it. But yeah, there was several moments, and then of course to see how Civil War kind of just was on the like everything from Age of Ultron carried on into Civil War.
Yeah.
I just think it was great.
Mhm.
I don't think I have anything else to say, but it's just yeah, I can still watch that. It's just really good.
Yeah. Not many people have it that high.
Yeah,
I like it, but I know a lot of people will say it's like the weakest Avengers in the.
I think mostly because they don't like Whedon.
But he
But
did the
for
first
me,
one.
I think the first one is lower.
Yeah.
I think the first one's not all that great.
Mm.
Mostly because it was I can't watch it anymore.
Really.
Yeah, the first one is not. It was good for the time it came out, but as it just doesn't. It's not as good now, at least in my opinion,
Yeah.
to when I first saw it.
Got
So,
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that to some extent.
I still hate they killed Quicksilver though.
Didn't see that coming.
I see what you did there. But yeah, like, oh man, he was. Oh man, but
Especially because like you're supposed to be one of the fastest alive, and you couldn't just push them out the way. You
facts,
had to
facts.
like really. You couldn't. You couldn't.
But
bump-
you got the X-Men one who can freeze time, go so fast that everything freezes.
Right.
Pretty much. Yeah.
the Evan Peters one.
Ugh.
What?
I don't like that one.
Well, he's cooler. Well, I feel like what he does is cooler, even though his.
What he does is cooler,
Yeah.
but I feel like him. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson just played it better. He was more likable. I would say.
Probably.
Yeah. I think Evan Peters was more of the. He was a kid in that one too,
Yeah.
but also he's more of the comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, number 4.
My number 4 is Avengers Endgame. What can I say about Endgame that has not already
Already
been
been
said?
said, yeah.
You know, it's the culmination of 11 years at that point of the MCU, starting from the first Iron Man leading all the way up to, the it's kind of like the redeem. It's almost like you can call them like the redeem team in the sense where like it leads directly into uh actually how did it oh yeah that it's in game it's one of those movies where I, I haven't really finished the thought yet, but it's one of those movies where I feel like each time I watch it, it gets better because I remember seeing it in theaters, and it also kind of got spoiled for me, and that made me upset at first, but
What got spoiled?
in game,
What about it?
Tony, that
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It kind of did. It was like a random YouTube comment, and I was trying to stay off social media before going to see it, and somehow it was either a comment or like a thumbnail or something from a video, and I was trying to not see anything.
So, now that you mention it, I got spoiled as well. But I didn't watch the whole thing. It was on YouTube. And it's those things to where what bugs me is it will be the weekend of when the movie comes out.
Yeah.
And they'll or the movie will just come out.
Yeah.
And they already putting scenes from the movie in there. And it was basically they'll put the title and it was basically Captain America Wields Mjolnir.
Oh man.
I didn't watch the whole thing, so I didn't know everything leading up to it. But still, I was like, oh,
I would be upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so yeah, it was. But yours is a bigger story.
Mine was worse.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was like, really? Like y'all.
Because there was so many theories. Is Cap gonna do it? Because I thought Cap was gonna do it. I thought Cap was gonna do it.
Do what?
You know.
Oh yeah, I didn't know who. But talk about just the movie as a whole, like I definitely feel like it was one of the. In retrospect, it ended on such a high note, like because I feel like before when I first saw it, I definitely liked it, I enjoyed it, but I think I had more problems with it. But now I feel like looking at it holistically. Because it does start off kind of slow and does kind of start off kind of, I don't know if I would say depressing, but definitely on a very low point, which it kind of needs to because they have to reckon with the fact that you lost half of the population of the entire.
I think the only thing that bugs me about it though is the 5-year time jump. That's the only thing. Yeah, because now everything you got to think. That everything is 5 years later. And it just messes up the continuity even more.
Yeah, so you feel like it should have been maybe like a year later or 2 years.
It shouldn't have even been anything like that. It should have just been.
But I think that the whole purpose of having the time jump is to show that, like to an extent, the world had moved on. To some people had moved on, but then there are others like Cap and Nat. Like they still had that sense of belief that we can still do something to reverse this. Whereas Tony, he had completely moved on, and he ultimately was the one that had the most to lose and the most to sacrifice, which he ultimately did. Yeah. So, and it's not to say that wouldn't have been a thing, even like if it had been like, the end of Infinity War, and then maybe like a few months later they get back together. Like at this point he had a daughter that was like, I don't know, 3-4 years or however old she was, and then he's living off on their whatever, the lake or ranch, whatever. And I think just showing that time, it just that time gap really just emphasized the fact that
a lot's happened.
A lot has happened since then, and when there's more time in between, it shows that they now have more to lose because it's like, okay, if there was if they went back at it immediately afterwards, then it's kind of like, well, we already lost. We just lost. So it's like, what else do we have to lose at this point? Yeah. Whereas now it's like, you could lose again, and Thanos was like, oh, I'm just gonna erase the world back to one atom. Like, so at this point, it's kind of like, y'all have lost already. Y'all can't lose again because you literally have you do have something to lose, even though you may seem like you don't. So I do get the time jump, even though.
And what's crazy is, even though of course we're focused on Earth, but it's hard to believe that you got to realize it was half of the universe, not just Earth.
Yeah.
So it didn't really show how the snap affected other worlds.
It didn't. And also with that point, it made me think about Captain Marvel and the fact that, like, dang, if she had showed up in Infinity War, like, would that have happened? Like, would they have beat Thanos? And I don't know. I do feel like to some extent it was a little bit of.
Yeah, I don't think we should.
It was a bit of plot armor to like just leave her out because it's like having somebody that powerful along with.
They needed to lose.
They did. No, they did. They did for the sake,
especially after Civil War,
for the plot. Yeah,
and then they always every Avengers movie they always won
because they were together.
Yeah,
so it makes sense story wise.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, like, I think if they had Wanda and Thor and Captain Marvel there in Infinity War, I don't see them losing. It still was possible, but at that point,
here's another thing: I'd rather Nova than Captain Marvel. I think they were hyping up. I don't know.
Did they even have Nova yet?
No.
So why did you bring up Nova?
Because I feel like they got the same power set, and they could have done the same thing with Nova. I think they were really hyping up Captain Marvel, and I don't think she. And if you know anything about Nova, he before he came to Thor, he went to Nova's world to get the Power Stone. So that already sets up Nova already.
Okay.
But they decided to do Captain Marvel.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway.
Last three.
So my number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. Long story short, it was just good. I think they worked really well. I think James Gunn just really had a knack of just showing how misfits could just get along better. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I just think Guardians of the Galaxy was just hit. Even though I didn't really care for second, and we already talked about the third one. I think the first one just really showed how much James Gunn is good at just bringing people that you really don't care about into caring about them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sure. Even though the villain was kind of Ronan was
he's
kind of one of the worst villains.
Yeah, you don't really watch it for Ronan.
No, but everything else, I think. The Guardians themselves, you just grown to love those characters.
Mm-hmm.
Even though when you seen it, you didn't really know who they were. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was good.
Yeah. So. I will add, even though I know we're not talking about the second movie, but I feel like one of the things the second movie did do as an improvement is they had a better villain. Like, that was an improvement.
Yeah.
Star
And it's
Wars.
all about like
Yeah.
bad dads. So I
Bad
don't know if
dads,
James
yeah.
Gunn has some
Yeah.
father issues.
Yeah, in every single one of those movies,
Yeah.
there's a
Bad dad.
common through line there.
Yeah.
You got a Yondu. We can talk. Yondu was one of the MVPs, one of the silent MVPs.
Yeah. That second one, no. Second one,
Yeah,
he redeems himself back.
he does. See, the bad. See, the second one I think is underrated. I know.
It was alright.
I think it's underrated.
Yeah. Anyways, your third?
My number 3, Captain America: Civil War.
Yeet.
Yep. So what can I say? You've already mentioned that one.
I'm surprised you got it. So
I've always had this one. This one's always been one of my top favorites because I think it does a lot of great things that we've kind of already mentioned. Like it introduces Black Panther, and personally, this is like my favorite version of Black Panther. Maybe not T'Challa, but like Black Panther in terms of like, I mean, you get T'Challa and Black Panther, but like, I feel like you see the like ruthless determination that he has to avenge his father, and just the fight scenes, the fight choreography was crazy. He went crazy. And then also he has like one of the best like dramatic scenes. Like with wait, what were you thinking about?
With his father dying.
Oh yeah, with his father dying, but then I was thinking about towards the end where he like with Zemo and he's about to take himself out, and he like stops him, and then I was like, dang, that like to stop the person who, murdered your father from taking himself out. That's there's some layers. And then I thought about before, right after, like way earlier, right after his father had died, and he's outside, he's talking to Nat, and then he was saying, his father would want, he said his father would want peace or want something, and he's like, I'm not my father.
It still fits.
Yeah.
True.
But yeah, the conflict between. Dang, I didn't even get to the actual heart of the movie. But yeah, the introduction of Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I thought that was great. All of the the side characters, I thought did a great job. But then the overall conflict between Cap and Tony, I thought was done really well. Especially having knowing their ideologies. Like, you would think, well, I don't know. I'd go back and forth with this, between, does it make more sense for Tony being the one to want to sign, and then Cap being more of the one who's like, no, the Avengers, we're, well, they're safer in our hands. And it's because you would think, based off of Tony seems more of the rebellious one naturally, and then
you got to remember, he only signed the accords because that woman.
Oh yeah, I know that, but I'm saying I thought they did a good job because I feel like they naturally, Tony, up until that point, and especially within the first few movies, he definitely would not have done that. He's definitely more of things are going to be in my control. Tony's a control freak, and this was the first time where he realized hey,
well, definitely
we definitely need to be
the Iron Man 1 where his weapons were being used, So
and then Cap, on the other hand, he's kind of he's the Boy Scout. He does things by the book, and then in this one, he's I think because of what happened in the Winter Soldier, he now has that level of distrust of okay, I don't know who I can trust, but I can at least trust, like myself and the Avengers and.
Well, also it was basically that's my friend.
Yeah.
You know, like.
But he also had that other hidden, I guess, well, not even hidden, but I mean, he knew ultimately that Bucky was the one that,
Yeah.
did, but he was also trying to protect Bucky from.
Because he knows the whole. And I think Tony knew the situation too. Like, it's not like he didn't know he wasn't brainwashed or nothing like that.
Yeah. But the fact that Cap hid it from him.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, oh dang,
because remember he came to the base to kind of forgive him pretty much until he finds out.
He found out,
yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, this is, and
because they were good until then.
And Zemo set the whole thing up.
Yeah.
But that was. Oh, the one thing that I've heard people complain about with Civil War is that so much of the conflict is built off of, like, what they're fighting. Like, the fact that they're fighting, it's like, it's propped up as, like, the Avengers are at war with at odds with each other, but they don't, I guess the complaint is, like, they didn't really dig into the details enough in terms of what the Accords are actually about. It's like, okay, they need to be regulated, but it's like
they really should have done that, like in overall. Like, I think they were so concerned about the Thanos.
Yeah.
That I honestly think they forgot about the Accords.
Yeah, they didn't actually go into the politics in enough depth.
Because I think even the Accords are now not even anything anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't want to get too deep on that.
So my number 2 is Avengers Infinity War. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Now we cooking. Yeah, what can I say? Oh my gosh, I can watch this as many times as possible. I love this from beginning to end. I love Infinity War.
Yeah.
Especially the introduction to Cap.
Mm-hmm.
When the train goes by.
Yeah.
And then throws something and then he comes out of the shadow.
Yeah.
Man, or Rhodey sticking up to Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
Them going. So. There was so much when you had. So we're using our made up words. Okay.
We mean our made up names.
Made up names.
When Tony calls him Squidward.
Squidward. Yeah, Squidward. It was so much. Oh man. And then you said, what, am I supposed to say Jesus? Which it might trigger some people, but
I forgot who said that.
Star-Lord.
Okay. Yeah.
That whole scene was stupid. But yeah, it's just like everybody just meeting up for the first time. It was just cool.
Yeah.
I don't even need to go into it. Y'all know how awesome Infinity War was.
Yeah.
If you don't, go watch it. It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one movie that's better than that, and I'll get to it.
Yeah. I guess we can go to my number 2.
Which is?
Bring me Thanos.
Infinity War?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, man.
So you can talk about it more.
Yeah. Man, wow. What a movie.
One
of the. I remember seeing that in the theater, and then, like, when when you get to the end, I felt like it would just went like silent
Yep.
after we all know.
I think,
and it was just kind
I
of it was
think
one of
people
those like
knew it was going to happen.
yeah,
But
knew,
didn't know the implications.
and then but it was kind of like a
Because we knew there was another
right.
part. Yeah.
But I didn't like the way it ends. It was just like I was thinking it may have been like a cliffhanger type of thing, or it may have been like, but not it. But it had like it. But it. I remember the Russo said like it has a definitive ending. Like this was Thanos' movie essentially. He's the protagonist. Yeah. Some people also say, I mean, to one extent, though, I feel like it's also kind of a big Thor movie, and I feel like this is probably like the single best version of Thor.
And what's crazy is, nobody. I think Tony is the only one that had the whole script. Is what I heard.
Really?
Because they kind of gave fake scripts so they wouldn't know the twist, and of course you have Tom Holland and you have.
Of course you can't give him nothing.
But he did an incredible job. With when he was being snapped.
It's like, Mr. Star. Oh man.
Yeah, I shed a tear on that one.
Man. That's the thing, because of the people that got snapped away, you really weren't expecting.
Yeah, it was the ones that did get snapped.
I was like, wait, he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then T'Challa, we just got and then and then it's like but
just hearing everybody gasp every time somebody got snapped. Yeah.
That was crazy.
Oh man.
Wow. Truly one of the best movie theater experiences I've had.
Yeah, you definitely had to see it in the theater.
That's one where I'm like,
it's not the same.
It's not the same. I would, if they put it back in theaters, I might go see.
We had to go see it. So Marvel, if you want more money, go drop it.
You know they're gonna do a re-release. You know they're gonna.
I think they should.
Wait, it's the Infinity War. Endgame came out 5 years ago. They might do a little back-to-back situation. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Anywho, Infinity War, just great from start to finish. It doesn't. I feel like it's one of the few movies where it doesn't have like any like lulls, and it's like 2.5.
Not at all.
It's 2.5 hours, and
like, every joke hits. Everything just
they're
flows.
Firing on all cylinders. Russos, they were cooking back then.
Yeah.
They were on a streak for real.
Right.
Yeah, man. Just you had like some of the best, I guess most iconic scenes from like various characters. I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Fire.
It's crazy.
Even I would say. Oh, the one complaint, Hulk. They did the Hulk. They massacred Hulk in the MCU.
My point.
Had he got whooped so bad he couldn't turn into Hulk the rest of the movie. He was like he just wouldn't. He wouldn't hold.
We're gonna leave it alone.
Yeah.
And then in Endgame. Oh my gosh.
Endgame, he was out here wearing sweaters and
crazy.
Professor Hulk.
So my number one, Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
I think we have the same number one.
Oh really? I didn't know you liked that as much as me. But
we've talked about this. It's cool.
Winter Soldier, man. Best movie. Well then, I mean, if we got the same one.
Yeah.
Heat, man, fire. The best redemption arc of any person, because, well, as far as movies go. Because I feel like Captain America First Avenger, I cool. Barely remembered any of that.
It was cool.
So, basically, with that, and then Winter Soldier, and then, which basically is him finding out that everything he thought he knew was a lie.
was a lie.
Man. Then you had him with Nat. His chemistry with Natasha was crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy because Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson, apparently they've been friends since they were like kids.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It shows.
Yeah.
It shows.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely had great chemistry. You had the introduction of Anthony Mackie as Falcon. You had
and then my boy, Bucky.
Bucky Barnes.
Who I did, before I saw this movie, I did not know who that was. I didn't know who the Winter Soldier was. And I had to look it up.
What do you mean you had to look it up? Like, you had to look up who the character was?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, same. I mean, I wasn't too familiar either, but yeah, it was kind of obvious that he was gonna.
Well, I didn't remember him from the first one.
Oh, that's what you mean.
So I was like,
so I remember seeing like when.
I literally said, "Who is Bucky?"
Oh wow.
You don't get the reference?
No.
You said, "Who's Bucky?" Because you said, "Bucky." Who's Bucky?
Oh, that's what Anthony Mackie said.
No, Winter Soldier said.
Oh, I forgot.
He
Who was Bucky? Oh yeah, because you can remember himself. Yeah. My bad.
You. But yeah, I think Winter Soldier is one of the best, man. That's why we couldn't do just a top 5 because most of those were in Infinity Saga.
Yeah, and like almost half of Russo's.
I told you.
All of my top 4 were from the Russo brothers.
That's what I'm saying. So the fact that like once Russos were done, I was like, yeah, it's all downhill for here. I either jinxed it or I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, but we got a really long video.
I know.
So, but got all the content for y'all.
All the content. So,
Winter Soldier, one of the best that Marvel has ever done. Yeah, great spy thriller. Great, has the espionage, got the chemistry, got the elevator scene,
even the villain was good.
Yeah, well, my boy Redford.
Is he passed? Did he pass?
Redford's he's still around.
Okay.
Shout to Sundance.
Okay.
But yeah, just a great movie. It's one of the most rewatchable. Like It comes on. I feel like it comes on FX like every week, and then I'm like, hey, is that the Winter Soldier on? Let me.
Always.
It don't matter where. I'm like, I guess I can watch again.
And I hate jumping in the middle of something.
Yeah.
I gotta watch the whole thing, but I don't even care.
I don't even care.
Infinity War and Winter Soldier. It doesn't matter when the TV is showing it or what part of the movie it's on.
Yeah, I'm gonna click.
Every time.
Every time.
But anyways, those are our top 10 MCU movies.
Yeah.
Let us know if you want to know the rest of them. Maybe we'll do a tier list or something like that.
So will we leave off the honorable? I did do a few honorable mentions.
I didn't do no.
I mentioned some stuff. I mentioned No Way Home. See, but you thought it was gonna be in my top 10. You thought. You thought.
No Way Home is not that great.
We will talk about that later. I had Far From Home as an honorable mention. I think Far From Home is very underrated. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is a villain, very underrated. He was great villain. Like
he was
he really got into Peter's head. He was
good.
Yeah, the Mysterio stuff, and he was going crazy with the illusions. Wakanda Forever, I had that in my honorable mentions. I felt like they did the absolute best they could without Chadwick. Like I couldn't picture them doing it. There've been a lot of discussions about Wakanda. I'm not gonna get into it.
We can get into it in the next video, but
yeah.
Post your comments down below. Let us know your top 10 MCU movies, and if you want us to do the rest of them. Let us know in the comments.
Do a whole tier list.
We know this is a long video, but we appreciate y'all for staying with us. Please comment, like, subscribe,
share, tell
and
your cats,
we're doing a goal right now. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers.
Oh, we're not 100 yet?
No, 62,
Okay.
60 something.
Okay.
So yeah,
What was that?
please tell your friends. Please tell your family, your friends. Share it on social media. Do whatever it is. But yeah, get us to 100, and we'll just keep on doing goals so we can get, to a lot of subscribers. We want everybody to know about this channel. Yeah, so you guys can be entertained as much as we entertain y'all, pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
He said.
anyways, that is our video. Peace out.
See y'all next time. Be safe out here.
Salute. Uh-oh.